We advise the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
For me, art is an agent of change.
Anything that highlights life.
They know it's an art form when it has a story, when it speaks to them.
Art is an expression of the soul. Pinapakita nito kung anong kaya ng tao.
The product of the reaction to something you love.
And passion.
And anything in between.
It's the highest form of language.
So it's gotta be honest.
A vehicle for expressing your thoughts, your emotions.
That when we see it, we can't keep it, we need to share it.
It's not shared by two or more people, then it's just the work of a crazy person.
For me, art is important because
It makes you think.
I like the idea of creating something out of nothing.
think of how you can improve your own life, the lives of others.
To have something in the world that exists that affects people.
It is what allows us to feel.
Without it, we're nothing more than robots. Just rocks.
If you don't have art, you merely exist. Art draws out the humanity. So art elevates existence into something else. Does that make sense?
We are unable to inspire and to move people into action.
It's your way of sharing and giving back to the people.
Without art, I think life would be boring.
Because everyone has to have some sense of creativity in their life.
It's not beautiful without art.
If you have a point of view,
You are an artist.
An artist is someone who sees things that no one else sees.
with the mindset of moving the society forward.
Anyone can be an artist as long as you are honest.
Courageous.
Art makes you just that much more sensitive to things around you.
To allow growth in our lives.
A reflection of the beliefs and the desires.
It pushes me to improve every day.
It makes me appreciate all the little things.
Iba yung tingin mo sa mundo eh.
Art is everything.
Hindi ako mabubuhay kung walang arte.
Actor and director.
Actress.
I'm an actor, singer,
Actor,
An actress and a singer.
actor, playwright.
theater actor.
An actress. An actress.
Actor.
I'm human being.
Maarte ako.
Maarte ako.
Maarte ako.
Maarte ako. Maarte ako. Maarte ako.
Maarte ka.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Kunana. Now, in this show, we talk about everything under the sun, and tonight's show is once again about the arts, and very special tonight because we are actually celebrating National Arts Month. And so tonight, our focus is not just the arts, but also empowerment, how we can use the arts to change our society, change the environment, change our way of thinking, change the world even. And joining us is someone who has been at the forefront of empowerment and the arts for many, many years. She is the president of the Philippine Center for the International Theater Institute and the founder of the UNESCO Dream Savers Center. None other than Cecil Guedote Alvarez. Good evening, Ms. Alvarez.
Good evening, Buddy.
Welcome once again to our show, Philippines Uncut.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Yes, ma'am. And you know, it's such really, I really look forward to having you as a guest because your message is very inspiring, and it's not often that we get someone who is so passionate like you about arts and empowerment.
Yeah, because just like what they said on TV, it's a mirror for us. It's an anchor. It's a lighthouse. It's also a conscience. So it's many things, and more than anything else, memory.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
imagine a nation that has amnesia?
Very difficult.
You're gone. There's no identity,
Yeah.
and you have to be anchored in your traditions. So that gives you that identity, that individuality, and also you're being part of a community.
It gives life meaning,
Yeah.
makes life worth living.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Alvarez, I introduced you as someone who has been at the forefront of this movement for such a
Yeah.
long time. Tell the audience about yourself.
Well, I'm
Where do
now-
you start?
Where do I start? I really wasn't going into the arts. I meant to be a lawyer. But then when I was in St. Paul's, I was about 15 years old when I entered college, 14 actually. But Father Reuter saw me on stage, and he offered me a scholarship to the graduate school program of Ateneo. And it kind of moved me into a different métier of service. And I felt that art can really be a force for education, and it's something that can really move people. And it's also a way, you were talking about empowerment, it's also a vehicle for creative economics, for job generation. People don't think about it that way. They think of art as just entertainment. You go there, a hobby, and you go and clap. But it's so essential. It's the womb for life.
Yes, yes.
It nourishes life.
Yes, and interesting you mentioned Father Reuter, because very sad.
Yeah, he
passed away.
That was really, well, we expected it, but it's still a great, great loss. He was really somebody who was a teacher, a guide. A lot of people say, oh, how come you're so energetic? I said, when I was with Father Reuter, he was running 13 shows live.
Wow.
Yeah.
13.
TV, radio, and doing stage. And if you were assisting him, you had to have as much energy, you know. If not, you can't keep track.
Yes, he'll really be sorely missed. He was really an institution. Now, you've also been involved in many other, you've been involved in PETA. What was your involvement in the
I
in
founded PETA because when Father Reuter threw me into television, it was very new, but he said, well, at first, I was in Santa Cita, and the whole idea there, and that's why I was so thrilled that there's now a Kasambahay law, because that was the purpose of that show, of that soap opera, to draw attention to the rights of, people who work with us at home. And now, you see that it can inform, it can motivate, it can draw attention. Yeah. So I was there, and then all of a sudden, he said, oh, there's another free time they're giving us. It was on channel. I'm going to kill you in Santa Cita, and you better take care of a show. And that was a time of, you're still too young, buddy. That was the James Dean generation. And there was so much juvenile delinquency. So he said, you better do teenagers and make it a creative classroom for people to be, for the young to be involved. And
channel that rebel without the cause energy into the arts.
Into a real cause.
Yes, absolutely.
And you could see that it was a wonderful stimulus for getting the youth involved. Actually, I saw Joel there.
Yes, and
Noel Trinidad was with us in our first team of people in teenagers, Vic Silayan, and so many of the young people now, Sila Soxy, everybody, they were all very young then.
Yes,
and Mario de los Reyes, all those people.
And then you've also been involved in, you were head of NCCA, Executive Director for a while, National Commission for Culture and Arts, but you've since left the government.
Yeah,
and now
I retired.
You retired, and now you're concentrating on, you're now president of the ITI, the Philippine Center for the ITI, the International Theater Institute, and you're also the founder of the UNESCO Dream Center.
Well,
now tell us what are these two organizations?
The International Theater Institute is an umbrella organization at the UNESCO in Paris, and it covers really 100 nations in all the aspects of theater, because theater is the meeting ground of the arts. There's music, there's dance, drama. We go into cultural identity and development, educational theater, building the playwrights, scene design, all these areas, children's theater. There's an alliance and a liaison with different forms, including broadcast theater now. So even comics, we call it illustrated theater. So here, the Philippine Center is to embrace and involve all forms of theater, from tradition to modern experimental expressions.
Yes.
But most of all, we're focusing now, which has been identified by UNESCO as a global model.
Okay.
I was doing the cultural programming for the Earth Savers, which my husband founded.
Okay.
And he said, can you help me really let people feel and understand and be motivated to address the environment, because nobody was caring about it so long ago.
Yes.
So we decided to involve persons from vulnerable groups, those with disabilities, indigenous youth, out-of-school youth.
Handicapable.
Yeah, we call them handicapable.
Not
yeah.
handicapped.
No, not handicapped. We transform them into handicapable persons or artists.
Yes.
And the whole idea is that's the word, you said it early, you empower them, you let them dig the gold mine of their talents, and they're able to utilize it to live with dignity, to be able to even earn out of this talent.
Yes, yes.
So they don't have to be further marginalized, and it's a difficult situation, so we call it cultural caregiving. You've got to care. You've got to, we're in a democracy, the right to culture belongs to all, di ba? Karapatan yan ng bawat mamamayan. Hindi lang yung mga mayayaman ang dapat merong pagkakataon na magkaroon ng ganitong karanasan sa kultura.
Yes. But how can we channel this strength of creativity, this, as you said, this pool of energy, creative energy? How can you now channel this into empowerment? How do you use this as a vehicle, as a force, as a medium to change the world, to change the
Well, first of all, there's an explosion of creative expressions, and content is very important. If the artist is committed and feels that he has a task, to really improve society, to call attention to needs, to problems, to move people to act, that's the key. You hit the heart and you're able to enhance thinking. You shift mindsets. Just with the environment, with the Earth Savers, even with the song Basurap, which we had Francis Macolona do with us.
The late Francis Macolona.
It gives you the responsibility to recycle and compost, and it tells you what you can gain. And in a rap song, you can learn how to really sort out your garbage. So there are many things that you can put into this thing. We just came from Doha, and we did
for the climate change.
For the climate change conference of the UN, and we had an arts installation. We called it the Tree of Action to confront climate change. This was participatory. This was from children and the youth giving their illustrated pledges of what to do with sustainable energy. So you allow them to think, to participate, and, well, to conscientize, Kailangan yugin ko minsan ng konsyensya eh.
It's change from within, no? It's persuading people, from convincing them from within, and using arts. And the
attitude,
The beautiful thing about arts is that it really hits heart.
The spot,
Yes, it makes you feel.
Heart month pa naman yun.
Yes, it is Valentine's Day, and we're gonna have a special song later, care of your handicapable artist. Now, it's interesting you mentioned Francis Magalona, because he is really the late Francis Magalona was really admirable in this sense, because he really had
a sense of patriotism,
and a good heart, and really values, and he transformed. He segued this into social transformation in his songs, his performances. Do you see this increasing among our artists?
Yes, absolutely.
Mainstream. We're talking about mainstream artists.
Slowly, with all this call about you have to be an ambassador for food security, for the poverty alleviation, for the peace process. I think they're being channeled to leave space. It's not just entertainment because you can twin entertainment with education.
Yes.
If you're really focused, your artistic expression can provide the necessary portrait or panorama that you want to call attention and, as you said,
Absolutely.
work towards cohesion, transformation.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the anger is because there is exclusion.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Frustration.
Yeah, frustration, the anger. If you don't involve, for instance, those who, yung mga may kapansanan, yung mga bulag, BP, bingi, and they're really separate. You have to integrate them. You have to make them feel that they belong. And it's possible. It's also changing the mindset of the general public.
Of course.
Kasi there's a general bias.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People look at handy-capable people as being ineffective, as being unable to
I
contribute.
myself met
Sure.
so much difficulties and obstruction. They will say, ano ka ba? Gagawin mo lang yan para kaawaan? It's wrong.
Yan nga
Because you have to have faith that they have the oil well, that gold in themselves, and God is fair and just and loving, and everybody has that gift, that talent. It just needs patience, caring. That's why we call our module cultural caregiving. They were amazed, at least people in UNEP or UNESCO or even the United Nations disaster strategy, that we can do performances about climate change. We can do performances about armed conflict.
This is what cultural caregiving is all about.
Yeah,
Using
because we
culture
bring
as a medium.
arts education. We go to prisons, we go to refugee centers where you have victims of armed conflict as well.
And you
as
bring the arts there.
Yes.
How? Like in terms of
well, we give
workshops?
Workshops. We give workshops, and you'll be amazed. And this is not just now in the Philippines. It's a movement. It's a global movement. In Bosnia-Herzegovina, when there was really that total destruction and
genocide.
rage, and genocide, there was expression. The kids in the refugee camps could use the arts to express themselves, to release their angst, to be able to understand the situation.
You know, the traditional frame of thought would be when you're approaching situations like that, like you said, concentration camps, people have been victims of abuse and genocide and all these terrible things. The traditional thought would be, this is the last thing they need. What they need is food, shelter, and clothing.
Yeah.
So what is your reaction to people who say that?
That is the mindset we have to, we're body and soul,
Yes,
right?
yes.
There's such a thing as the spirit, the triumph of the spirit over adversity. Kung lumpo ka na at saka talagang nakalugmok ka na dyan at wala kang katatagan ng loob na kakayanin mo at merong mangyayari, talagang you're going to be there. I've faced, that's why I couldn't get out of this job. When people listen to our drama or even on radio, I was approached by people who were suicidal. One is blind, born blind, may child abuse sa kanya dahil parents are frustrated themselves. Luckily now, you see that they become handicapable because there's strong support from the family. And that's the kind of, and the society itself is already accepting them. Before, I had to talk to owners of malls to ask that some of those we've trained in a rondalia could perform in the malls and give them jobs. We even talked before to Don Emilio in Manila Hotel to get them to perform. I mean, now we have one excellent keyboardist. He would have joined us, but during Valentine they have of course jobs, etc. So they're able, and then they're able to travel. They think that those who can tour are only those who are able-bodied. But our Earth Savers, luckily we have joined, like when we were in Kyoto, my husband was then chair of the committee. And they're touched. We were invited in the UN the wife of the Secretary General was in tears watching. So many Undersecretary Generals. Peter, Paul, and Mary gave us a song because they were so touched.
Talking about the UN, I understand that there's a very important meeting going on now, and it's ending tomorrow. What is this about? It's in Paris.
No, it's in, New York.
New York, right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This is the Social and Economic Council because there is a commission that deals precisely with social concerns. And now the theme is really empowerment, poverty alleviation, job creation. Now, how can the arts enter into this? Why is it able to facilitate it? It can be a catalyst.
Yes.
And most of the time when they think of poverty, it's always, there's food for the mind, there's
Absolutely.
food for the soul, and that gives you the strength to overcome. And that's what we have to give. It's with the peace process, we should be able to help. It allows you for appreciating, to be tolerant, to integrate other things. It's important.
Good word, tolerant, because if you're open to the arts, you're open to other forms of expression.
Yes,
it broadens your mindset, and it really can be a really useful instrument in
and
uniting
appreciating
people.
diversity.
Absolutely.
And even with diversity, we can be unified.
Yes,
That's the whole point.
Are there initiatives to bring these kinds of things to the South, where we have currently?
Well, I'm telling you, I was in Paris. There was a first historic gathering of everybody they called UNESCO Goodwill Ambassadors, UNESCO Artists for Peace, the Champions for Sports. And I was invited by Director General Bukova, and I made an intervention precisely on peace in areas of armed conflict. And we thought there could be a peace theater concert on the 38th parallel where North and South nagbabangayan. Spratlys, all the artists from the contesting countries can also get together. The South, definitely we should support the peace process to end armed conflict. We must stop violence against mankind and Mother Earth. I mean, it's survival.
And that's the beauty of art. No? It really puts you in touch with that inner child.
Yeah.
And you're going to step back from all the seriousness and realize that, hey, we are all human, and we should be at peace, and we should be one.
You can get connectivity.
Yes, exactly.
And it's such a social art. You don't do it, solo. You have to have the audience. And that's the essence of theater is love. If you're creating something, it is to share, to give, to connect. To be together for something. Hindi lang yung, papalokpakan ako, kita ko baka merong magkagusto sa akin. I mean, dito may kikita ako dito. But it goes beyond that.
I hope that you can awaken some of our mainstream artists or actors or singers to think the way you do, because unfortunately there are some like the late Francis Magalona, but still they could do so much more to reach out and to help.
Well, we're working out all kinds of satellite bases. We've tried to reach out so that regional art schools would be involved. We have a very good mayor in Angono who's going to get involved. Sabela State University, we're discussing these things. Makati University. It's got to be in the schools too. If those who are in the schools could take it as a mission that what they have, they can share in the barangay, in the community. Because later on when you talk to Maricor, she's blind herself, but I think she can tell how she felt and how others who were equally blind in a workshop in Santiago City that we did could really both empower her and the other people.
Yes, and we're going to meet Maricor, but you have to pause for a break. More of that when Philippines Uncut returns.